Do you know who the most important person is to invest in? Well, I have a guest today who's going to tell us more, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here, and you're going to be glad you made the decision to be here because I'm with an amazing woman, Gemma Toner. She's a founder and CEO of Tone Networks. Welcome, Gemma.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So excited. Tell us about your journey and tell us a little bit about Tone Networks. So,
Sure, sure.
yeah,
So
go.
I'll tell you, Tone Networks is a highly engaging learning platform that we have designed for basically tomorrow's leaders. And the goal is to get leaders, emerging leaders, access to executive coaching and experts earlier in their careers so that they can basically get the life they want. And so my story is that I actually had the good fortune of working at a lot of different types of jobs. I started in, believe it or not, public accounting, and then I moved to a great company called AMC Networks and had a great run there. And then I actually worked at a cable company and ran their IP-based products, and that was really exciting. And then I actually retired and thought I was going to do philanthropy. And lo and behold, I got asked to speak at a women's leadership conference, and the topic was career pivots. And at the time, I was in for career pivot and I wasn't sure what I was doing next. And so I thought, I actually said, why would you want to hear from me? Because I'm not sure what I'm doing right now. And they said, oh,
Interesting.
that's exactly why we want you. I said, oh, great. So I was really uncomfortable, feeling really vulnerable. And for anyone that's read Brene Brown's Daring Greatly, I was like
Oh,
rereading that, getting
yeah.
myself, okay, be brave, be vulnerable. And I go in and it turned out to be a great experience. What happened was I actually knew a lot of people that were kind of in the room. It was a large room with a lot of really talented, more senior level executives. It was a senior leadership conference. And what kind of floored me was that they were there at all. And I thought to myself, wait, I've made a lot of jumps in my careers. All of them are, I'm no different than them. We're all talented, we're all ambitious. What was it that made me able to do these things? And so I got to thinking, and reflection is really hard when you're in kind of the, that hamster wheel of corporate, right? And just
Yeah.
working, working, working. So I had some time to take some space to think about that. And I started to realize, I got access to scarce resources. I was fortunate enough to have many mentors and a sponsor, and I had an executive coach, and I got picked for really great things. And all of those things are scarce. And so I got to thinking, what can I do about it?
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, I know how to build software, I know content, I know data analytics, and I started to think about how can I take the knowledge that you get from having access to an expert or an executive coach or a mentor and put it in a different form factor, use technology to make it scalable so this could go to everyone, so that this isn't just reserved for those high performers that have been picked. So my goal was to really democratize this access to knowledge that is oftentimes the secret sauce to your success.
Wow, I always knew there was a line. I didn't realize that's such a great story, and we're gonna talk today about the importance of making time for you,
Yes.
and I can now understand why, because you experienced that, and now you're living your mission in your impact.
Yeah, it's so absolutely true. I don't think, first of all, I never imagined starting a company. That was not on my agenda. I
Mm.
really thought I wanted to build homes in Haiti. I wanted to give back. That's where I thought I would be. And I do some of that, but that's for another day, another day. But yeah, I think when you really do have that time, it kind of wakes you up to who you really are. Because I know for me personally, I found I was always very ambitious and I oftentimes did the next hard thing because it was strategic. It was the right thing to do for my career. But I would say at some point, I got to a place where I was like, what do I really love? Because I just
Mhm.
like to do hard things. And I needed to figure that out. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
very much kind of how this came about. And I do have to thank, getting asked to that leadership conference and Brene Brown, who I would love to have as a best friend because she's amazing.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I've read that book over. I mean, read all of her books. I
Yeah.
just think, that it was really that courage that I found, that I needed to be courageous and, go in there and talk. And that's really how this idea came about.
Oh, so good. It's such a great story. And when we come back, we're going to talk. I want you to talk more about how do people make that pause for themselves and make that intention instead of being on that hamster wheel, like you said, because I know that a lot of people that are listening are probably subject to feeling like I have a lot going on. I don't have time for that. So when we come back, let's dig into that a little bit more. So stay
Absolutely.
right with us.
Okay.
Hey, Susie here. Thought I'd pop in. I wanted to let you know I've been an executive coach for over a decade. I work with executives and they call me their silent partner because I help them increase their confidence when they're facing really difficult decisions. If you'd like to see if we're a good fit, head over to susietalmanchuck.com and fill out an application. I'd love to hear from you. All right, we're back. So, Gemma, you said that investing in yourself is really important. Tell us more.
Yes, I feel very strongly about this. And I think it is something that many of us are often, when you ask people, where are you on your to do list? Oftentimes, many of us are at the bottom. And
Mm,
what that does is it really puts everything else in your life ahead of you except you. And I think when you finally get to that realization that there's no more left of you, that you almost
mm.
hit rock bottom and you're like, I have to do something different. And so I certainly had that experience and, burning out and just being exhausted. And again, being on that hamster wheel and breathless sometimes.
Yeah.
And I found that I needed to carve out, and it's really hard to carve out time, right? When you're doing,
Mhm.
like so many, multiple jobs and all the responsibilities we have. And so what I found was that I needed to take baby steps.
Mm.
That, I couldn't necessarily, I knew that getting up early and working out was like the right thing for me to do. I couldn't necessarily get myself to the gym, right? And so
Yeah.
little things like that, little steps where I could say, okay, you know what? I can do 15 minutes,
Mm.
in my bedroom. I can do that. So it's that sense of starting to do things from a baby step perspective. And you might say, well, why? Why bother at all? Because if you're not investing in yourself, both, from a physical perspective and from an emotional perspective, and just from, expanding your knowledge, you know what? You kind of get stale. And,
Mhm.
when you can actually find just a few minutes to learn something new, it piques your curiosity and then you continue to have that curiosity. And so
Mhm.
my goal in creating Tone was to do just that, make it really easy to learn something new. And I like to call it sort of sneak into your heart. Like most people are like,
Mhm.
oh, learn. I have to
Yeah.
learn something. Everyone says they love to learn, but then most people actually don't, right? And so I really wanted to make learning fun and learning easy. And again, how do you invest in yourself when it's like, oh, I have to take a course and I have to do a paper and I have to, no, 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 you don't have to do that. Let's make it really easy so that we're going to deliver what you want when you want it, and it's going to be really short and you don't have to take notes. And we're going to send you your notes at the end, and we're going to encourage you to take action. And we're going to ask you, tell us if you liked it or not. If you didn't, we'll send you something else. And that's really the goal of Tone, is to make it really easy for you to invest in yourself so that you can get the life you want,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Because there's lots of people that have dreams, but you've got to take action,
Yeah.
and what is that action? That action is, making a plan, taking some time, recognizing that if you've got zero gas in the tank, it is really hard for you to have kind of your optimal personal and professional life. And
Yeah.
to recognize that I need to take time for me, both personally and professionally. But that doesn't mean I have to get to the gym, or that doesn't mean I have to go take a course. There's other ways to invest in yourself that help you grow.
Yeah. Gosh, and when you said, like, losing the sense of yourself and being at the bottom of the list, like, especially women, we have so many hats that we put on, and, everybody, we have this busyness culture where we think it's a badge of honor And sometimes we get tied our ego gets tied into what we do for a living,
Oh,
and
totally.
that's not who we are. So if you're not
Right.
discovering yourself, you're gonna wake up one day and go, "If that title's gone or that position's gone, who am I?"
Right. Exactly. And it
Uh,
really is important to reflect. And reflection is really hard when you're,
yeah.
running 100 miles an hour, right? And so even just taking a few minutes, to reflect, say, okay,
Mhm.
thank you, some gratitude. Think about what do I really care about today? What's
Yeah.
really important to me?
Yeah.
Those priorities. And again, finding ways to expand yourself, but for it not to be a burden because you have a lot already on your to-do list. So we don't want to make it hard. We want to make it easy.
Totally. I love this too because I work with executive level people one on one, and it always astounds me that they're paying me a lot of money, and sometimes I'll ask a question that just seems pretty like obvious to me, and they'll be like, "Boom! Wow, that just rocked my world." And what they don't realize was it was the space for them to think about it. It wasn't the question I asked.
Yes.
And you need to start that early. So that's what I love about tone is it makes that availability for people to start to get that skill and that muscle because you'll have a ton of ahas if you give yourself that space.
Yes, exactly. And space too, yes, sometimes it's an aha, sometimes it's simply, I wonder what that is,
Hmm.
and to not have anything tied to it that's performance based. So no one's watching you, no one's saying you
Yeah.
have to click on this. This is based
Right.
on your, your prerogative, what you're interested in.
Yeah.
And so, when we work with companies, we typically work with companies that have a very progressive attitude towards leadership development.
Mhm.
And, they recognize that they want to be investing in leaders earlier in their careers. Thank you very much. Right. Wouldn't it be great
Yeah.
if we all had an executive coach early on? Right.
Mhm.
Um, and they're recognizing that um, let's trust our employee to determine what they're interested in. And we like to think of it akin to if you get an executive coach, your company doesn't prescribe to you what you're going to talk about with that
Mhm.
executive coach. There's a level of trust. There's a level of, you can figure this out. And
Mhm.
that's the same component that we really look to bring to tone because there's plenty of other company resources that have all that prescriptive stuff. So you don't need
Mhm.
that. This is really about you saying, here's what I'm interested in, here's what I think I need. Because there's
Mhm.
going to be plenty of other people, or other, I shouldn't say people, other resources saying, here are the things you need. Okay.
Mhm.
Let that just makes your to-do list longer. This is about, here's what I'm curious about. Here's
Yeah.
something, a topic that comes up over and over and over again for women, but also for men. So that is confidence, right?
Yeah.
Having the confidence to,
Mhm.
have a difficult discussion, having the
Mhm.
confidence to go into a meeting when you're dreading,
Yes.
we've all had those, having the confidence to speak up,
Yeah.
having the confidence to raise your hand for something that sounds really interesting. You're not quite sure how to do it, but I'm going to give it a go. You know,
Yeah.
those are really big ideas that we need to turn into behavior and
Yeah.
practice, right?
Yeah.
And so, kind of going back to what you were saying, it's everything in life is about practice, right? It's a
Mhm.
word like, oh, practice, but it really is just doing it over and over again. It just gets easier. And so
Yeah.
again, for us, what we're, so grateful for is to work with companies that see, let's get people practicing early so that they're more aware of what they need to do and what it takes to be a leader. And, to remember, one of our experts has, Dr. Joelle J talks about, personal leadership. And your personal leadership is really you're leading your life, right? And so when I
Yeah.
think about my life, right, I think about I have my work life and I have my personal life. So, but I need to lead them both, right? One
Yeah.
is not exclusive to the other. And so as we were developing tone, that was something that, as we did consumer research, we found what people wanted was simplicity. They
Mhm.
wanted things in one place. So don't give me too many apps or too many buttons or
Mhm.
even just too much content.
Yeah.
And, it was about, life blurs and that sometimes, There's some sort of older school thinking, which is, you must, work stops, personal life begins. Well, if the pandemic taught us anything, what we saw is that that is really blurry and deeply intertwined. And so what that means for us is that at Tone, on any given day, you might be interested in a video on why do my kids lie to,
Yeah.
in negotiating skills, because guess what happens,
Yes.
your personal life comes into your workspace, and
Yeah.
it's just with more and more technology, with AI coming, the onset of AI, we're going to see that more and more. And so
Totally.
we look to make it as easy as possible for you to get what you need when you need
Ah, I love that so
it.
much. So when we come back, I want you to give our listeners and our viewers 3 ways that they can start investing in themselves and take from your library of great content and give us some
Sure.
3 ways that they can put it in place today.
Okay.
All right. All right,
You got it.
we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Hi, Susie here. One of the things that I love is I facilitate team conversations, whether it's talking about high stakes, how to advocate for one another. So if you're a leader and you want to bring your team together, you want to level them up, help them really bond together and increase their confidence as a whole, contact me. Go to susietomachek.com, tell me a little bit about your team, and I'll be in touch. All right, Gemma, I'm excited because I always want to learn how to self-invest in me. And so I always need tips because for me, it's something that I have to remind myself of and kind of rejuvenate my acceleration in it, or you know what I mean? Like re-dig into
Totally.
it. So I'm going to take these tips that you're going to give me. I'm going to do them too. So
Okay.
I'm excited. So
All
tell
right.
us, give us your
So
first
I'm
tip.
gonna really, this is almost like a speed round. So, and I'm gonna keep it
Okay.
really how to and simple. First one,
Okay.
just do it. Okay. You need to commit to doing this investment. I am going to make an investment in myself. Put that as your mantra. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to invest in myself. Second,
Well, let me just
okay.
say, I think maybe for me, I'm going to put a little sticky note right on my computer, right where I look into the camera. I'm going to say, I'm going to invest in me. That
Invest
so
in
that
me.
it's
Yeah.
remember
It's your
because if you
mantra.
don't remember, okay. So
Invest
find
in
a
me,
way to
invest in you.
remind
Right.
yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Whatever
Love that.
that is. Okay. But you need to commit to, yes, I'm going to invest in myself. And then, okay, so now you've at least said, I'm going to do this. Then you need to do it. Right. So I think the next piece is I know finding an hour is really hard. I get it. I've been there. Right.
Yep.
But you can carve out 5 minutes for yourself, whether that's early in the morning, whether that's midday, and take some time for yourself to learn something new, to, anything at all. It doesn't have to be work related. It can be personal, whatever it is. Just start, get the ball rolling. Once you start, this gets addictive in the best way possible. Right.
Awesome.
And then when it comes to the last tip, it's really a mindset tip. We have lots of, videos on Tone that can help you with this, but it really is about committing to, what you often hear as a growth mindset. But
Yeah.
what that really boils down to is saying to yourself, I can. I can do this.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. You can do this. You can take 5 minutes at the beginning of your day, 5 minutes at the end. I'm getting greedy of just taking 10 minutes for you to invest in yourself, and you can do it.
I
And
love
again,
that.
don't make it hard. Just invest in
No.
yourself in anything at all. Okay. It doesn't have to be something hard.
Yeah, make it simple and we we need self-discovery about who we are. And so put it on your calendar. I'm going to put it on my calendar and I'm not going to give myself permission to move it
Mhm.
because that is also the first thing that we move, anything that is for us. So
So
put
true.
it on your calendar. It's 5 minutes and just start there and keep it simple.
And
So good.
and there is a little bit of playback in your head, because it's like, if you think about moving it, it's like, really, I can't find 5 minutes for me. Like that is
Yes.
that's when you're
Yes.
about to cancel that 5 minutes. You say, wait a minute, I can do this. Because why is all of this so important? Is because when you start investing in yourself, when you start growing and feeding that curiosity, you become in a much more optimal state to succeed. And
Mhm.
that's what's really important. You have more
Totally.
energy.
Yes.
You have more curiosity. You're like, yes, I can. So, but
Yes.
it really is, it's like that inertia. You've got to get the ball rolling.
Yes.
And so again, as I said earlier, it's like I like to think of let's sneak into your heart with 5 minutes because once
Yes.
you start, you will do more for yourself. You just got to
L
start.
Yes. All right. Such a great tip. And also it increases your understanding of your own value, which increases your confidence that allows you to advocate for yourself. So it all goes around to adopting a negotiator mindset too is about investing in you.
Yes.
So good. All right. Well, stay tuned. We're going to tell you how to connect with Gemma and she's going to give us something too. So don't go anywhere. It's me. Thought I'd tell you how excited I am about this collection of courses I have available. It's all around the concept of adopting a negotiator mindset. And the only way to do that is to really understand what it's like to be a negotiator so that you can practice it in your everyday. I'm excited about this project because it's going to allow people to do this on their own time and go through the course at their own pace. If you want to learn more, go to susietomanchuck.com. I'd love for you to check it out. All right, we're back. All right, Gemma, what do you want to give to our listeners
Okay.
today?
I love gift giving, so I can't help it. So what I want is to make this as easy as possible for everyone to start and do this.
Nice.
So I'm going to give everyone a free week of Tone Networks. So you can become a member
Awesome.
and there's thousands of videos and just start. Just do it. You can. You can.
I love it. All right. So we'll put that link in the show notes. So just go to the show notes. I'll also put it on my website on negotiationlove.com. So you can find that available there too. So it's easy to find. So go to negotiationlove.com. Thanks so much for being here, Gemma. This was so fun. It was so great to hear your story and learn a little bit more about Tone Networks.
Well, Susie, thank you again. Thank you for being so supportive and such a wonderful expert and coach that you are.
Thank you so much. And as you know, Gemma, negotiation is more than a skill, it's a mindset. So go negotiate.